Welcome to Today with Dr. J, where I give you the guidance and tools to figure out what works for you in your recovery. My name is Dr. D. Jaffe, and I'm here to help you live happier, more purposefully, and without limits. I tend to ruffle some feathers for doing this, but I do away with the notion of once an addict, always an addict, because I believe that anyone can beat their addiction. With the right mindset, tools, support, and education, nothing can stand in your way to success. You don't have to commit to anything but action. You don't have to have anything but motivation. Whether you want to quit, drink less, or simply become more mindful around mental health and addiction, I'm here for you. The concept that I wanted to talk to you about today is the concept that the person you have been to this date, the person who got you to where you are right now, is not the person you need to be to get where you're going. And that can sound scary to people sometimes, but I think the reason it sounds scary is because you believe you can't change who you are. At a deep core level, because our perspective is always from our eyes looking out, we feel like we've been the same person our whole life. We feel like we haven't changed all that much. And I think it's true from your internal perspective. It's like a baby. I don't know how many of you have kids, but you've grown up and you've seen other kids grow up. When you grow up with a child next to you, the growth is so incremental, right? It happens by tenths of millimeters and like quarters of inches, and they get bigger by an eighth of a pound, and you don't really see the growth. It just kind of amazes you one day when you look and you go, how's this baby who fit literally in both of my hands at some point in their life, how are they now graduating elementary school? Like, that just doesn't compute. Whether it's your brother, your sister, you, your kid, doesn't even matter. It's so small. But if you have family members and you only see them every 6 months, every couple of years, the changes are massive, right? Whether you like it or not, the same exact thing is happening for you at all times. It's just you can't perceive it because you're there for every single moment of your own life. And so the changes are so imperceptibly small that it feels to you like you've been consistent the whole time, but you haven't. I've lived at least 3, but probably 4 different iterations of what I am, where you can kind of literally look at different phases of my life and see me as slightly different people, right? The kid growing up in Israel before moving, after that being the kind of foreign kid who started rebelling against my parents. That's when alcohol and then weed and then heavier drugs came in. Then probably the third period is where I really went off the rails, right? The heavy drug dealing and super heavy meth use and the jail and that whole experience. And then the period after that. So that's at least 4 different personalities that I've been. And the reason I'm stressing this really, really heavily today is I say this a lot. All you have to do is become a person who is not addicted. And again, if this is one of the first times you've heard me say it, it goes completely against the entire principle of once an addict, always an addict, and all this bullshit that we hear out there, but it's true. And the reason it's true is you can change. You can just take elements of yourself that you don't like and you can learn how to do them differently. Do you become a wholesale, completely different human being? Probably not. But you can change enough to be a person who does not anymore struggle with that issue. The only question for us is identifying what are the things that are necessary to change it. For a lot of you, the struggle that you came in with, there was a perspective you had on it and the perspective everybody else around you had on it. And so you went about it in a particular way. My guess is that before you came here to some extent, you knew that it was about more than just that, but you thought you had an alcohol problem, or you thought you had a drug problem, or you thought you had a sex problem or a food problem. The issue is, to you internally, there was no motivation to solve that problem. Like, well, I kind of like alcohol. Alcohol kind of does the thing for me. I kind of like it. I enjoy the effect it gives me. Why am I trying to solve this problem? But everybody keeps telling you got to stop drinking, or drinking's not good for you. Look at what it's doing. Part of what I'm trying to help you understand here and all the work that we're doing is you have things you want to solve. Leave alone the problem everybody else thinks you have. Start focusing on what you care about. Start understanding what goals you really have in life. Get the perspective that matters to you. And all of a sudden, the solutions are completely different. The outcome is the same sometimes, but the solutions are completely different. As you start solving those things, you become a slightly different person. Some of you have been in relationships that have been problematic and painful and haven't been serving you. And so you've lived the life of a person in that kind of relationship. Well, we need to fix that, because in that kind of a relationship, you can't flourish, you can't grow, you can't become the best version of yourself. Some of you have been stuck in jobs you absolutely despise and destroy your day-to-day life. And you're trying to fix your drinking problem while hating your work. It's going to be a problem. Some of you have had mental health issues. Some of you have had trauma in your past. Some of you have had biological predetermination. The specific issues revolve around biology, psychology, environment, spirituality, like I always talk about. But your unique situation matters to you. I don't need to make you my version of somebody who used to struggle with addiction. I want you to identify on a very, very deep personal level, why do you care about solving this? Because the moment you do that, the motivation, the desire, the energy that you will need to solve this problem will magically show up. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found the lessons helpful in your recovery. Click below to like, comment, and subscribe. Plus, if you want to find out more about the work that we do at Ignited, visit IGNTD.com for more.